Blumhouse Productions provides a new chapter in the Exorcist franchise and the start of a new trilogy, Exorcist Believer. Your host Steve here for Geek Boulevard, giving my thoughts on this newest film in the series. Let me preface this review by stating that I have a fond memory of getting the shit scared out of me when I watched the original Exorcist film for the first time during an anniversary screening in the early noughts, and I couldn't sleep for a week. The original is such a classic piece of horror and one I always revisit during the spooky season. Upon hearing, though, that a sequel trilogy was being developed by Blumhouse in the same vein as the recent Halloween trilogy, I was conflicted. Then I was downright concerned, as David Gordon Green was going to be helming this new trilogy as he directed the Halloween trilogy. Outside of that first film, the sequels didn't really fare well at all with audiences. Was The Exorcist Believer a step in the right direction and made the development of this sequel trilogy worth it so far? To be clear, there will be spoilers in this review, so I recommend you watch after you have seen the film. As I stated previously, the film is directed by David Gordon Green and is rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 51 minutes. When his daughter, Angela, and her friend, Catherine, show signs of demonic possession, it unleashes a chain of events that forces single father Victor Fielding to confront the nadir of evil. Terrified and desperate, he seeks out Chris McNeil, the only person alive who's witnessed anything like it before. Starting with my positives, I felt the performances from Leslie Odom Jr. and Lydia Jewett as father Victor and daughter Angela were very well done and hit all the right beats emotionally. Victor and Angela are both dealing in their own ways with loss, as Angela's mother and Victor's wife Seren passes away while pregnant with Angela after suffering severe injuries from an earthquake in Haiti. Due to these injuries, the doctors tell Victor that only one of them can survive, as saving Seren will kill the baby, while trying to save the baby, it will kill Seren. 13 years later, we see that Angela is desperately trying to have that connection with her mother that she never knew, and it was an interesting contrast to see, as Victor wants to forget and move on and kind of has no belief system anymore, while Angela wants to connect and speak with her mother. It's this longing for connection that sets the events of the film in motion, and I thought these were great character moments. The film has an interesting take on how exorcisms are handled and how religion and hope are such key factors in expelling such evil from an individual. Usually it's your typical Christian family who has a Catholic priest say holy words to battle this demon inside. But what if the victims involved have a different belief system from someone who is considered Catholic or Muslim? The climax of the film shows that in a thematic way, as these two families who previously had no connection are now linked in this event to save their daughters' lives. Multiple individuals from different religious backgrounds are joined together in an effort to remove this evil by praying to their respective gods, and I found that pretty interesting and not something you see in exorcism horror films. Now it's time to move on to my negatives. Unfortunately, due to the amount of character development for Victor and Angela, her friend Catherine, played by Olivia O'Neill, and her family did not get as much growth as characters for the duration of the film. I was hoping there would be a connection for me as an audience member to care for Catherine as a character, but I just never found that in her scenes. Also, since this is a legacy sequel, Ellen Burstyn, who played Chris McNeil in the original film, the mother of Reagan, played by Linda Blair, who was possessed by the demon Pazuzu, appears in the film as well as Blair. Burstyn is not in the film very long and really only serves as a loose connection to tie the original film to this one. She's taken out of the plot rather quickly, and it was just jarring and odd to include her. Blair is in the film for all of 10 seconds in the closing moments of the film, and just like Burstyn, felt very tacked on and not necessary to the overall plot. This film also relies heavily on jump scares, and they're not effective in the slightest. I'm fine with jump scares, but I'll happily sacrifice them for tense moments that build and build into a scary moment. This film doesn't really have those moments, and in fact, it's not scary at all, which has me worried for the upcoming sequels. The film does leave some story threads open for those upcoming chapters, but it's very loose, and this film could pretty much be considered a one-off story, which I wish was the case. Overall, I'm scoring The Exorcist Believer 2 out of 5 stars. There are great performances from Leslie Odom Jr. and Lydia Jewett, but Olivia O'Neill's Catherine doesn't get much development, and the unnecessary inclusion of Ellen Burstyn and Linda Blair felt like a blatant and lazy way to tie into the original film. The lack of scares also takes away from the experience quite a bit. But now, after hearing my thoughts, what did you guys think of The Exorcist Believer? Did you find it scary? Are you looking forward to the sequels? What was the scariest moment for you from the original Exorcist? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. below. And don't forget, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And while you're at it, subscribe to my channel, tick that bell so you can always be notified when I drop new content on movies, games, all that nerdy stuff. Until next time, folks, keep it classy and keep it geeky.